Give it up one more time for Asha Puthli and band. Incredible band. It's so good to have you here. We were just all swooning watching you. How's it feeling? I mean, you're here starting the beginning of your first tour in 40 years with a live band.
44 years.
44 years.
For the first time with a live band.
Who convinced you to do this?
Raghav Mani, my manager, who owns... I call him my taskmaster.
Yeah.
Because, well, he owns a label called Naya Beat. And he first came to see me because it's the first ever South Asian label which promotes South Asian artists. And initially he had put one song of mine, Chipko Chipko, which is to a Michael Jackson melody, Smooth Criminal. But the lyrics are Chipko, which means hug a tree. It's an environmental movement, Chipko movement in India, where the villagers will hug the tree. And when the deforestation was happening, they would say, if you want to cut the tree, you have to cut my body because I'm hugging the tree.
Yeah.
And then they left the tree alone. But that song was for that movement.
Right. And they had that on a compilation, right?
On a beat, yes. Yeah. And then he took that, then he called me and he said, do you have the stems of your records? And we want to do a remix album of your stems. They came out with an album called Disco Mystic. And which is a title that a wonderful writer from Red Bull had given to an article on me where he talked about Ornette Coleman and how I went into space things and then from space into space disco and
Yes.
Yeah. Stop me when I talk too much.
No, talk as much as you want. The world is your oyster. I found it quite interesting that you still had your own masters and instrumentals just like at your own apartment in Florida.
Oh my God, it took me 13 years of...
Just carrying them around?
No, of fighting with CBS.
Oh,
negotiating with them, getting the rights back.
Yeah.
They don't give the rights back that easily.
Yeah.
I'm still fighting for my publishing rights because we're in the 70s when we were young. We were quite foolish and, I'm still very foolish, but then I was even more foolish. And I would sign just because I wanted a record deal. And since I had the big major labels asking me to sign.
Well, back in those days, they would give you like a Cadillac and say, be happy with this,
and
right?
I'm sure your dad went through the same thing, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
we all gave away everything.
But that's great that you have your masters now and you were able to then create this remix album that you were mentioning during the show. I wonder for you, a lot of these songs that you're singing were written in the 1970s with, and as you sing the lyrics, over time, have they come to mean anything different for you?
Basically the same things.
Same.
Yeah.
After all these years, all the same things.
I'm still a space cadet.
Still a space cadet. Let's take it back because I feel like you're, I mentioned in the beginning, mid-century Mumbai, and I was picturing a young Asha and wondering what you were up to when you were over there and how you started out with your connection to music itself.
Oh, so many different connections and influences in my life. That's first of all the Indian classical part.
Yeah.
Because my sister used to sing Indian classical music and she was older than I am. And I used to love listening to her. So I chose the same very famous Masterji, Guruji, and Pandit Lakshman Prasad Jaipurwale in big title. And a big title, actually. This title was Guni Gandharva Pandit Lakshman. Guni Gandharva means the angel that is blessed with many gifts.
Okay.
And masters, especially in classical music, those are the titles bestowed on us.
So you were singing Indian classical music along with your sister?
Yes, initially that's what I got into. But we also had the film music and the Indian film music influence. From every window, you could hear them blaring. And then there was, in the middle of the night, Voice of America was something I heard. And that was from the State Department, the U.S. State Department.
It was like a radio show or what was
it?
Okay.
Yes, USIS, United States Information Service. And they had, Willis Conover was like the ambassador of jazz to the world, basically to the foreign countries. And he had this program and he would play standard jazz, Duke Ellington, Benny Goodman. Never did I dream that one day I would not only meet these people, but I'd end up singing for them.
My God. So you heard the jazz on the radio, and were you immediately struck by it? Like, what is this that I'm listening to?
Absolutely.
Did you try singing along to it from the start?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved it because the similarity between Indian classical or semi-classical music and jazz is quite deep because they both have a certain improvisational quality, which, a sense of freedom with music.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find your way to the States from there?
Oh, please, it's such a long story.
It's a long story?
Oh, my God, yes.
Okay. Well, what's the condensed version of it?
Well, we didn't have passports because it was soon after independence and everybody had gone taking the money when they could and left the country. So most of us didn't have any passports because there was no phenomena like an Indian tourist in those days. And the only Indians that would be given it was called a P form. And by that, I don't mean going to the loo, P form. Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying, So every time I say something or do a show, I'll always say ridiculous things because I don't.
You're just in the moment.
Yeah, that's right. That's how we are, all of us. We're just doing it in the moment. So if you hear flubs and dubs and we miss a cue or we're in the moment. We're in the
real.
moment.
It's authentic.
It's real.
Yeah.
And sometimes I tell people, the other day, I said, I'm feeling, I wrote this song, CS, because I feel insecure sometimes, like most people. And, they want to feel loved, right? And they say it, but someone told me backstage, they said, never show your weakness. And I said, what do you mean? These are my fans. These are my friends. I have to be honest with them. I am insecure. So what?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. I love that though, because you're just so real. And I feel like the way that you are, just how you're being is inspirational along with everything that you've achieved, which we're just touching on. I know it's a long story and it's
darling.
I want to talk about everything.
I'm as real. You said I'm real. I'm as real as fake can be.
Okay, darling.
And as fake as real can be.
We need a book of Asha quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
I'll put it in the new songs.
So new songs. Are you working on new songs?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And are you collaborating with any artists? Or?
Not yet, but I will let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Please let me know.
Yeah.
Send me a text. And I want to take it back though, because it must have been such an interesting time for you to come to the States as an Indian artist doing soul, jazz, disco music at a time when it was like, there was a lot more compartmentalizing. Like, we think people will listen to this or they won't listen to that. And you need to be a certain genre and it needs to be this on the radio. What was that experience for you? What were people trying to tell you that you needed to be versus what you wanted to be at that time?
Many barriers, but what they were telling me I should be was anything but myself. Basically, because one, I was Indian. I had a funny name, which Americans couldn't, for that matter, even Europeans. Like in Italy, they'd run after the street, in the street after me, saying, guarda, la Indiana, because they couldn't get my name straight, right? And so the next album, after a gold album there, was La Indiana, my first disco album, so to speak. Yeah, they called it La Indiana. They said, drop the second name. Finally, they convinced me to do it. And I was Indian, funny name. And I was told by CBS that the black audiences would not go for me. The white audience would not go for me. And Indians that then lived here were basically doctors and engineers who were the only ones given that famous P form with a passport. And we didn't have passports, even just like that. Hello, here's your passport. No. You had to get the P form, you had to get a sponsorship, things like that. So to come here, actually, I joined an airline. And had it not happened, my whole life is done by a flow that I think destiny brings to me. I don't plan it. Like Space Talk, which is organic, nobody pushed it. There was no record label that pushed it ever. It was lying on, it's the crate diggers, it's the samplers, the hip hop guys. They're the ones who have given that longevity and that lifeline. Yeah.
What was that like for you in the early 90s or the late 90s when you found out that your music was being sampled?
I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe it?
No, because my son was the first one. I think P. Diddy and Notorious did that on the album called Life After Death, which came out in 1997. But in those days, I didn't hear hip hop. I mainly listened to classical music, opera, and things like that. So when they told me, my son said, "Mom, I think I heard one of your records in the hip hop song."
Oh, so he was just listening to music and he was like, I think I know this.
There's something familiar. I said, "Don't be ridiculous." Then 50 Cent wanted to sample the same song. And he has with G Unit. It's called The World. But they were so nice to me. The lawyer called and And I didn't know, but the lawyer's secretary was a very young girl. So when she called, she said, "Did you sign our contract?" I said, "Oh, yes, I faxed it back." She said, "Oh, please tell Miss Puthli I'm a big fan of hers." I said, "You're talking to..." She expected me to have a secretary, for God's sake, So I said, "It is me." So she told her boss, Dan Rubin, the lawyer.
Yeah.
And he called me back. He said, "Right now we're doing this deal with Warner Brothers and you for 50 Cent. But as soon as this is over," because she told me, she said, "I'm a big fan of yours." But I said, "How can you be a fan of mine? I don't have any records released by CBS in America." And, so then she told me, that, "Oh, you're an underground, like a big following in underground." I said, "Really?" And then she told me about P. Diddy, Notorious B.I.G. And then I had to sue them. I never would have sued them. I'm not litigious by nature. Yeah. And I'm not litigious by nature. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like what they did with your music?
Yes, of course. The world is filled with pimps and whores. But of course, they don't say it like they
Yeah, it's good stuff. Quality.
Authentic.
Speaking of records, I heard that you were responsible for the album artwork of Rolling Stone's Sticky Fingers.
Oh my God, you hear all these weird underground
Is that
news
true?
bits. Yes, yeah.
You guys know the album artwork for Rolling Stone's Sticky Fingers?
Do you know why it's called Sticky Fingers? Do you know why it's called Sticky Fingers?
Tell us right now, please.
Because Sticky Fingers, well, here are the British boys. They'll tell you what Sticky Finger. They don't know this story. What is? No, Sticky Fingers. Anyway, Sticky Fingers is kleptomania.
Oh,
When people
right,
take
okay.
things,
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sticky Fingers. That's what it is.
Are you saying that the people in your band have sticky fingers?
Now, my band thinks I'm talking about masturbation, but it's not that. No, it was. So what happened was, when I was young, I used to hang out with all the drag queens from. That's why I look like one today. Yes,
It's Pride.
it's Pride Day. I'm celebrating it with a wig on my head. It's not a wig. It's a topper. It's called
topper.
a topper.
I like that, yeah.
But if anything, it's just pulled me down. Anyway,
It looks great.
I should have, yeah. Anyway, I forgot what I was telling you.
We were talking about sticky fingers
Sticky
and how you
fingers.
don't have them. But
Yeah.
you did.
So Andy Warhol, we used to he was one of my close friends. I didn't even realize how much he loved me till later, like posthumously. Not that he left me in his will or anything, but close.
Wait, what made you realize that he loved you? What was it that you were like?
Through the years,
Yeah.
little bit, this and that. And we used to all hang around at the factory. It was known as the factory. And then another place we hung out was Max's Kansas City. For those of you who are interested in New York history or New York cultural history. So I'd just done an album. John Hammond Sr. was the only, I'd say, record executive, though he was in an honorary position. When I met him, he was already in his 70s. I mean, he was younger than I am today, but still old. And after I'd come here, because I came as a student on a scholarship, and the only reason I joined the airline for a year was to audition for Martha Graham.
Oh,
who
it was
I'd
a dance
met.
scholarship, right?
Yeah, because I tried every university when I was young after graduating with a Bachelor of Science, which has nothing to, well, it does have stuff to do with music. Science and music is so connected. But I forgot what I was telling you anyway. I told you when I talk, it goes on a tangent. It'll
It's
go
okay.
here,
I mean,
there, and
there's just-
everywhere. It'll travel the whole world before I come back to your question.
I'm ready to do that. I don't know about everybody else.
No,
but,
everybody can leave if
yes,
you
I
wish
hear you,
anytime.
yes.
My feelings will not be hurt.
So, but what I would like to know is the sticky fingers. How
I'm
you came
telling
up-
you the sticky fingers.
Yeah.
Yes, sticky fingers. So John Hammond wanted to prove that I could sing anything to Clive Davis, who was then president of, and John was in honorary position, but he was the most venerated jazz producer because he had produced Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith, you name it, the big names. He brought in not Barbara Streisand, Aretha Franklin to CBS, but she was not given the right platform at CBS. She only really made it big. They sat on
Sounds
her basically.
familiar, huh?
When she went to Atlantic. That's when she made her hits. So Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, they're all John Hammond's discoveries.
Okay.
I was one of the later ones. And I had this tape made in India of Indian classical with jazz, answer phrase and four phrase. And I played it to John, and John had loved it absolutely and said, I'm going to put you in the studio. And we did a small little acetate called Asha's Thing. And he called Clive to hear it. Clive came down, heard it, and he said, oh, that's jazz. That's not going to sell. So I said, okay. So John wanted to prove to him that I could sing whatever he thought I could sing. He thought I could sing anything. So that's it. So he put me together with Ornette Coleman. Ornette had been trying many singers at the time, and Ornette was not happy with it. Now, for those of you who know Ornette's music, it's brilliant. I mean, he is a Nobel Prize winner, after all. And his music is, for most singers, might be a little difficult maybe to sing, because the thing about avant-garde jazz is there's democracy in music. It teaches you about democracy in music because everyone is playing their thing and you just have to weave yourself in and out and still be creative and still sound cohesive with the entire group.
Yeah.
That actually got me my first downbeat jazz critics talent, deserving, best vocalist. It was Ella Fitzgerald, who I love, admire, oh my God, who influenced me through Voice of America.
Yeah.
And then below that was myself. And it was sort of like a...
So you won the award up there with Ella Fitzgerald.
Ella was
first
one.
influenced you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Back in India.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was something.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Such a high. Yes. And, but I was next, not at her level. I was number 2.
Okay, well.
And that too, it was a tie-in.
Right up there with her.
Close enough. Yes.
Are you going to tell me about the visual?
The visual. Oh, I told you. Yes. So he put me together. I told you to stop me. And he put me together with another band called Peter Ivers Blues Band, who's the wunderkind of Harvard.
So much history. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of history. And I've been around for many years. I'm close to 80. So what do you expect?
Not everybody your age has accomplished so much.
Not everyone is still alive.
That's true too.
Yeah. They all either, I don't know what. Let's not go there. I'll again go into another whole world travel. So where was I? Oh yes, Peter Ivers Blues Band.
Yes.
The single came out and it hit the charts. The Billboard Record World Cash Box. We used to have 3 magazines at the time, but at the bottom, because Epic was not promoting it because I was not signed to them yet. Nobody wants to give a jazz avant-garde solo artist deal, ever. Very rare. Only a jazz label. But CBS, which is a mainstream label, and in those days, it was the label that you wanted to be in. So I think I lost it now.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah, the record, the cover. So I did this thing, and the songs that we did, There's one song in it called You Can Take It Out on Me. And it's all sexy sounds like, you can take it out on me. Take it out on me. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so we wanted that as a single. But the single they put out was Ain't That Peculiar, because it was more palatable for mainstream. And on the side, another song, Clarence O'Day. So I'm sitting at Max's with Andy and everyone, and upstairs the DJ is playing Ain't That Peculiar. So Andy said, oh, this is great. Your record's out, blah, blah, blah. And are you coming out with the album? And have you decided an album cover? So I said, well, I want the single to be You Can Take It Out on Me. And I wanted to have man's denim, like real denim pants, like a crotch area with a zipper. Pull the zipper down, take out a pink sleeve, because we used to have pink, inside sleeve. And I said, take out the pink sleeve, like a prophylactic or whatever you call it, And then there's the record. You Can Take It Out on Me. Take it out, take it out. And he loved the idea, because he was asking me because he was planning to do my album cover.
Right.
Anyway, the record was shelved for, I think, like 40 years. It just came out.
Oh, wow.
Someone licensed it from CBS, a small label called Wounded something, whatever. Must be pretty wounded. I don't hear about it anymore. but
I'm here all night.
And so we waited. He waited for a month. Meanwhile, Epic had approached me to sign with them.
Yeah.
But that's another whole story. We won't go there. I did not sign. You want to know why?
Why?
No, you don't.
If it's juicy, I want to know why.
Then we're going away from your question about
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I won't go now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so 6 months went by, a year went by. I'm not signing with Epic. No, the deal is not right. And meanwhile, I see the cover a year or so later, 6 months. Look at the dates and you'll see. If you do little research, you'll find the original Peter Ivers release date.
Yeah.
And then I'm not even mentioned as a featured artist. But then, but most of those, they don't mention, because it's like, do I mention my darling Adrian when she's singing? Did I mention? I usually do. I introduce everybody, but today I haven't. What was I saying?
Well, then, so you must have been out in the world, and then you saw your idea.
I saw it, and I said, "What's that?" He said, "No, it's somebody else." But Andy was known to take ideas from other people. Everyone knows the $sign thing. That was somebody else's idea. But then he also gave ideas. He was very generous with his ideas too. I mean, you cannot copyright ideas even today, or concepts even now. So then the record comes out, and I say, wait a minute, it's so badly done. It's not my concept, visually, but it's the concept is the same. And I said, but I looked at the tracks. There's not one track called Sticky Fingers. Not one track. I said, why the hell did you call it Sticky Fingers? Mine was You Can Take It Out on Me. What's this Sticky Fingers, And what? Ridiculous. And and it's not the kind of music you'd masturbate to, like you were making all these signs there. No.
Right.
Not even,
Yeah. So the album cover was essentially like what you had imagined, a different version of that. The Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers.
Sticky Fingers. Cover. And
so now when you see that, think of Asha Puthli as coming up with that
But
idea.
you still won't masturbate to it.
But yeah, you still... No. When you're not masturbating to it, think of Asha Puthli.
But I'm telling you. So that is that record cover, since you asked me, but I forgot what.
I have to ask you about one more thing, because I don't want to keep you all day. I know that you have to continue your tour.
Yeah.
And like
tonight we leave for Australia.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Down
tonight.
under.
Wow.
22 hours flying, and the poor guys, I don't know if they're going to do it. Never mind.
In your intro, I mean, you were making music, but you did a lot of other things as well throughout your life. We were backstage and someone was like, what has she been up to all this time? And I was like, well, she had a PR agency and somehow she worked with Gorbachev.
Yes. Yes, that's not connected though. It's
not connected.
No.
I mean, what are the things that you've been up to?
Well, because of some of my songs which are environmentally oriented.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Fallout Dust, for example. Then none of them have been released here. In fact, they've never been released there. So I don't know where.
Where are they?
Polygram. Those were 3 Polygram albums done. The record producer was Rainer Peach, a German producer. And I think some of them got released in Japan, some in Germany. But they were rock albums.
Okay.
And I wrote most of the songs, but they were all... Fallout Dust was used as an anthem for when they had the whole nuclear, it's an anti-nuclear song. It's fallout dust, decontamination, fallout dust, gonna start mutation, fallout dust, falling through the sky.
Glam. Yeah. Sample that. We're going to sample that and turn it into a track.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel compelled at all to write music that's a reflection of the world and what's happening? I mean, it seems like it's something that's come up for you throughout the years.
Over the years, sometimes, especially rock music allows you to do statements. Mm-hmm. Not so much in jazz, not that much.
I know you're working on new music though, so.
Yeah. But rock, in those days I was young, and
So the next album's going to be a rock album then, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm too old now to do rock. It's probably going to be jazz.
You've always been known to crush any boundaries or barriers, so I would not say that you'd be too old to do rock. I would believe it if I see it, when I see it. I believe it's possible. I do see it.
I'll believe it too when I hear it.
So as you continue, I know you're doing a lot of clubs, like you were at Zebulon in Los Angeles and stuff like that. Do you have any dream venues that you'd like to perform in that we can all manifest right now for you to be there?
Yes. Hollywood Bowl. Yeah. I love to do it. And we'll rehearse much more. By then we'll be really tight. And we won't improvise. We'll just stick to it,
Yeah.
Hollywood Bowl. Well, you can give me some other...
Madison Square Garden?
Yes.
Yeah,
but that's not in LA.
No. Anywhere. I'm talking about
Anywhere
the
in
world.
the world.
It could be on Venus.
Well,
I mean, the space time for real.
I would like to sing on Venus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See?
Yeah. But because I sing. At Space Talk, I say, Venus, please help me.
Yeah.
But I'm doing Glastonbury. We all are.
Oh,
We're doing
amazing.
Glastonbury. It was very big.
That's going to be incredible.
200,000 people, apparently. And they sell out before they've even announced it. My friends called me. They said, oh, please get us in. Can you get tickets? I tried to find tickets for them. They're $1,000. Now you can't find it. Was £1,000, sorry, for a ticket.
Yeah.
In Britain, in UK.
Well, they're going to be lucky to see you there. And we're so lucky and honored to see you here today.
Thank you. And I'm so lucky to be here. This is a station I heard all the time. KCRW.
I love that.
Morning becomes Electra.
Eclectic. Yeah.
Eclectic, yeah.
It happens all the time. It's fine. Asha Puthli, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
and
so
best of luck on your
much.
tour. You're going to do absolutely amazing and continue for the next 40 years, just touring, right?
Yes. Next 40.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't tell you how I know Andy loves me so much. I tell you why I know?
Yeah, you can tell me.
Because they had a big, after he died and everything, they had, I won't whisper, I'll say it loudly, even if you're not filming, it's okay. She asked me a question about Andy, and I said, oh, I know he loved me very much, but I found out later. I mean, over the years, I always knew, and but that convinced me. He had something known as the time capsule. You know how the pharaohs take their things to heaven or whatever. And in that time capsule, he put all his favorite things in one time capsule, different ones, I guess. The Whitney had a retrospective of his work. Andy Warhol, A to B, or whatever it's called, A to Z. And as you come out of the elevator, on the right was this vitrine, like an exhibit, behind glass. And he had all the people that he loved, because I know he loved Man Ray's work, Man Ray, the artist. So there was Man Ray's book. Then there was William Burroughs' book. Then there was the lyric book of the Beatles. Then there was like all his favorite stuff. Then my record was right in front. When you entered, you could see the record right in front. I don't know if he kept it that way in the time capsule or whether the museum did it that way. My album was like, you hit it. And on the bottom, flat, was Lou Reed's record. So he liked both our stuff. And Lou, of course, anyway, that's another, I don't want to go aside. So, so it was in the museum. Yeah, I was in his time capsule, the first album. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.